What's up, everybody? Jordan here again, letting you guys know about my new comic book series, which is finally coming out. It's called Ancestral Recall. This is my cat. She's here to say hello again. It's coming out August 6th from the good people at Ahoy Comics, um, featuring art by my good friend, fellow Milestone Initiative, Adigan Ilhan, colors by Pippa Boland. And if you don't know the quick pitch of the book, it follows Melvin Waring, who is a eccentric, kind of reclusive painter who gains the ability to tap into Black history as a superpower. He's able to commune with sword fighters, race car drivers, cowboys, all kinds of people, and use their abilities to help find his wife who has been kidnapped by a sentient AI corporation from the future. So this is all very timely and prescient at the moment, which it wasn't, but hopefully, the book is resonating in a good way and not like a dystopian way when it comes out. Speaking of the book coming out, how can you get the book? Next month, I think I'm going to do a kind of like Ryan Coogler IMAX whiteboard breakdown that kind of gives you all of the information of where you can buy the books from, maybe some Black comic book shops that you can go to and support, and all of that good stuff. But for now, I'm just going to do kind of the quick and dirty version of it. So if you're already going to comic book shops, if you're already getting comics regularly, you know the deal. Go to your shop, tell them you want to put it on your pull list, Ancestral Recall, um, all that stuff. That should be pretty simple, pretty easy to do. If you have never been to a comic book shop before, or maybe you went to one time with like a friend or family member, or you've only been to comic book conventions or all of that stuff, a couple different ways that you can do it. So first of all, comicshoplocator.com, right? Comicshoplocator.com does literally what it says. It helps you locate your local comic book shop. You just put in your zip code and it'll pull up a bunch of different shops. It'll give you information about the shops. It'll give you all their social media. It'll give you their website. It'll give you a link to directions to the shop. So makes it very easy for you to find the shop and check it out. Once you have found the shop, a couple different ways that you can do things. You can either physically go to the shop if that's something that you want to do or it's easy for you to do. Um, you can call the shop or you can go to their website. In most shops you'll be able to pre-order things online. So a couple of things to keep in mind. First of all, comics are a very confusing industry in a way that a lot of things are done. So you're not going to pay for the book before you get it. There's a couple of different reasons for that, mostly just because comic book distribution, particularly now, there's a whole bunch of insider information that's not really useful to you, but distribution sometimes can be a little dodgy at times, and that means that shops don't really want to take a lot of people's money to pre-order a book, and then maybe the book gets canceled or there's a delay in shipping or something like that, and the people want refunds and they have to refund a bunch of people's money. It's a lot easier if you just sign up for it. Most shops are ordering these books in bulk anyways, and then they're just pulling aside the subscription boxes and putting them aside for the people who wanted them, and then the rest go on the shelves. So that's the reason that you're not paying for it. If a shop asks you to pay for the book before you get it, go to a different shop. I've never had to do that at any of my comic book shops. The way that it works for me at my local shop is that I will put a book on my pull list. They will order it for me, and then I'll get an invoice, maybe a day or so before it's out, just letting me know what books I have in my pull box, letting me pay for them, before I go into the shop, or I can pay for them when I get to the shop. It's all very simple, very easy. So for just again, if they ask you to pay for it before you, when you pre-order it, maybe go to a different shop. Also, pre-ordering it or having what they will call a pull box or a subscription box isn't like a subscription service, so you're not paying the shop for the box. It's just a way for them to have your information on file so that when the book comes out, they can give it to you, right? So when you go to the shop, if you choose to go in physically, just find somebody who works there, let them know that you'd like to pre-order a comic. They're going to ask you what comic. You can tell them Ancestral Recall from Ahoy Comics. Tell them it comes out in August. They should be able to just pull it up on their system. Very, very simple to do. There's a couple different things to keep in mind if you would like to get one of the variants. So the first variant is from Kari Randolph. Looks very good. We've got a couple more variants from some more very talented artists. You can let them know that you would like the variant cover, and they should be able to just put you down for that. You can let them know you want both covers. That's fine. You know, they can put you down for that. Also know that it is a 5-issue series. So this is the first issue dropping in August, and then it'll run into December when issue 5 comes out. So you can also let them know that you like to subscribe to the series, and that way you'll get every issue pulled aside for you. So they'll just keep ordering it and putting it aside for you in the subscription box, so that every time you come in, they'll let you know it's out. You can go in, pick it up, all good, right? So that's if you want to go into the shop. If you don't want to go into the shop, you'd rather just call the shop, you can always just give them a call. Same process, let them know you like to pre-order a book. Ancestral Recall, Ahoy Comics, comes out in August. Should be able to look it up for you. Again, they'll ask if you're already subscribed or if you need to open a box. They'll ask you for information, you know, just your phone number and email so they can get in contact with you. Should be set up that way. Pretty simple to do as well. Websites also work. Some shops have better websites than others, but most of them will be pretty simple to navigate. And you can, again, some shops have Ancestral Recall up ready to order, you know, and so you can already do that. The information just came out for it pretty recently, so some shops haven't updated their system all the way, so you might not be able to find it there. But I've seen it up a few different places ready for pre-order, so just check with your local shop. But if you call or go in physically, they should be able to just pull it up on their system. They just might not have it up on their website yet. So that's how you can get it at the shop, right? So you go to comicshoplocator.com and you're like, man, the closest shop is like 30 minutes away, or you're somebody who you know, just has mobility issues. Getting out of the house isn't always the easiest thing, or transportation isn't always reliable. You don't want to catch 3 buses to go to the comic book shop, etc., right? So what you can do is you can go, again, to comicshoplocator.com and see if any of the shops in your area will ship it to you, because a lot of shops will also just, they can mail comics to you. If you're looking at it and it doesn't seem reliable or trustworthy or whatever, there's a couple of major comic book shops like Midtown Comics, like Third Eye Comics, and a couple others that are just, that's part of the business, is that they have mail subscription orders where you can sign up, have comics mailed to you regularly when they come out. And you can go to their website, you can call them up, and it's basically the same process. Just let them know, you know, Ancestral Recall, Ahoy Comics comes out in August, issue number 1. You can tell them what variant covers you want. If you want a variant cover, you can subscribe to the whole series, and they should be able to get that set up for you. So that's one option if you know, are just like, again, don't live close to a comic book shop, or getting to a comic shop is a hassle, or, you know, various other reasons. You can always have it delivered to you. The third option is a little, it's not tricky and it's not bad. You know, certainly do it if it's the best option for you, but circumstances, again, insider baseball kind of stuff. There used to be an app called Comixology, and it was great. And you could go there, you could get all the comics, DC, Marvel, but also all of the independent books. You could publish comics to the app and to the store, all that stuff. Books would come out same day as they did in the stores. You could pre-order them. You would just be charged, you know, when the book came out of your account if you're a subscriber. All that stuff was great. Amazon decided that they would like to buy that, and then they folded it into their existing Kindle store. And, you know, people thought for a second maybe this is a good thing, but then basically they just dismantled it completely, and now it's just their comics storefront for the Kindle, right? What all that means is that if you would like to order digitally, say again, you're somebody who lives in a different country, you don't live in the United States or North America, you live in Europe or somewhere else, and so digital comics is the easiest way for you to get comics. Or again, you just, you know, you don't want a physical book, you'd like a digital book, etc. You can go to Amazon, to the Kindle store. I just went there. They don't have it up yet. They do have Ahoy books, so it should be very possible and simple for you to order it from them. You just might not be able to pre-order it. So I'm going to double check with the people at Ahoy to see if that's a possibility, or how things usually work through Amazon in the digital front. But you can also get it digitally through Amazon Kindle, right? So basically, if you use Kindle, it's the same thing as any other Kindle book that you would get. You would just order it directly through there. They would upload it to your Kindle. You could read it on the Kindle. The last way is something that I'm also going to talk to Ahoy and maybe see if this is a possibility, because I know it's possible for other books, I just don't know the process of doing it, is that if you have a library card, you also have a Hoopla account. Hoopla is like the digital branch of most libraries. I think there's another one as well. But Hoopla has comics, and Hoopla has recent comics. They have comics that are coming out that are kind of newest. They may be like a couple weeks old, or they may be a month or so old. But it's another way that you could get your comics, and you don't have to go to a comic book store physically. Or, again, if you just like to read digitally, you can get a digital issue of the comic. So I'm going to talk to Ahoy and see if that's a possibility. But that's one more way that you can get the book. An important date to know is July 7th. July 7th is what they call the final order cutoff date. Sounds dramatic, but really what it means is that's just when they would like to have a bulk of the pre-orders in, so that distributors know, shops know, the publisher knows, they're able to print, whatever amount of books they need to be able to set it off. So if you miss the final order cutoff date, July 7th, that doesn't mean that you can never get the book, or the book will never be available for you. You could still even order it through your shop. It just might not be there on the day that it comes out. It might be, they might order it and you might get like an additional shipping, right? Final order cutoff date is important though, because it is a way that shows that people have interest in the book, right? So if a lot of the pre-orders are in by that date, and they're looking at it and they say, oh, a lot of people are interested in this book, a lot of people order this book, that might tip off the publisher, the distributor, the shops, etc., that like they should print more. There should be more, you know what I mean? So like a lot of books get a second printing, which is kind of the equivalent of them putting, a movie back into theaters, or, just showing that there's more demand for the book. So it's sold out, and now they're printing it again to bring it back to shops. And so ideally, that would be cool, right? To be able to sell it out and be able to get, that second printing. Even a third printing sometimes happens. So the only way to do that, though, is to pre-order the book and let people know that you want the book. So like I said, there's a couple different ways you can do it. comicshoplocator.com. Find your local comic book shop. You can go there. You can call them. You can email them. You can go to their website, and order it directly from them. Kindle is an option. I don't believe, like Google Books and Apple Books are kind of confusing, and not everything is on there. But Kindle is the most reliable way to get digital comics. Everything might not be up there to pre-order, but you will be able to get it when it comes out in August. So this is just my little spiel to remind you and give you some of the ways that you can get this book, pre-order it, so that, when it comes out, you've got your copy guaranteed. Like I said, next month I might do a more kind of extensive breakdown of, different shops to go and visit, Black-owned comic book shops, etc., things like that. But hopefully this has been helpful, and hopefully, if you're like, oh, Jordan, the comic sounds cool, I've never been to a comic book shop before, now you have some information to be able to go out and get it. So one more time, Ancestral Recall, August 6th, in stores wherever you get your comics. You can pre-order it at wherever you get your comics. Final order cutoff date is July 7th. So if you can, order it before then. And thanks again. Peace.